What's up, Rockstars? How's it going? Today I have some really big news coverage for you. I'm going to be talking about Fallen Knight and the disaster that was. I'm going to be talking about VAT and getting charged VAT surprisingly and what people are reacting to it, and both the consumers and the companies and how that's all looking out. I'm going to be talking about a giveaway that's going to be coming up, a sponsored video as well, kind of a campaign that I wouldn't normally look at. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at, and just some other updates. Ankh is doing some stuff. There's a massive darkness. There's all sorts of stuff. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. Okay, literally, if I was going to describe everything, that just wouldn't have worked out. So we'll just go with the flow, and there'll be timestamps down below for everything. Before that, though, I do want to take a quick moment to thank my YouTube members and patrons. I know I say this all the time, but it's because it's true, and I want to thank them up front. I'm always big on that because I am so thankful for all of the support. All of that support keeps me independent and keeps me to where I do not take any money from any game developer so that you don't have to. Even if I've had to ship a prototype back out, I'll pay for it myself instead of giving them my bank account. So they give me they don't know my bank account. They can't pay me if they wanted to. And I want to keep it that way. And so that kind of honesty and independence is only viable through your guys' contribution. So if you're able to, there is a link down below. And I am so grateful if you do. If not, though, that's fine too. I understand it. I get it. There's a lot of YouTubers and everybody's in a different situation. That's fine too. Just a quick like, a comment, let me know that this video was helpful. All that kind of stuff helps the algorithm, and you're feeding that whole thing, and it actually makes it worthwhile for me. If I didn't get any comments saying this wasn't worth it, then I wouldn't do it. It's not about the money. It's about helping you guys. So hopefully you like this. And definitely something I need to talk about. So let's go ahead and dive right into this. So this is Fallen Knight, and it was canceled after a day, pretty much. So what went wrong? Well, what went right, I guess, would be a shorter list. This miniature right here, they released, right? They showed this miniature for a long time, and that is what got everybody going. Now, I was a large part of that, right? I mean, in fact, I don't know of another YouTube channel, at least my size or larger, that really gave this even any coverage at all, which is kind of unfortunate. I suppose he just couldn't pay for it. I know that's pretty often. If you can't pay for it often, they don't get it. Anyway, so we had this picture, and that looks a lot like Kingdom Death Monster. That's kind of interesting. There's a lot of baby faces on there, and they're all screaming, right? And so that was cool. It was interesting. And then it talks about the fact that you can suck the memories out of dead enemies and stuff like that. And I was like, well, that sounds cool. And if you disregard the construction helmet, even cooler. Honestly, that's some cool art. I'm all down for that. All of this looks cool, right? It seemed interesting. The problem is, first of all, there was some really really bad art, and it wasn't even like this is as good as it gets, and it gets worse. They didn't actually show any of that on here, which is probably a smart move, because there's some really bad ones on their Facebook page and stuff like that. I don't consider this good either. They did end up showing this miniature here, which is also completely impossible. If you notice, all the tails end in a fine little point on the on the butt, you're gonna be able to glue that together or anything. This chain wrapped around the guy, again, just impossible. None of this stuff is gonna happen. And it's gripped with the hands too, so it can't be a separate chain that they offer in some resin kits. It just wasn't going to work. It's just a 3D render that has no physical thing and never would, without some serious changes. Now, if you notice, I just scrolled through the whole thing, and what you missed is the game, and that's because it's not here. What they show is they show 2 miniature renders, both of them from add-ons. None of them are even from the core box. This guy and the other person, if you scroll down here and you look at this, that expansion 47, that expansion 49. First of all, I don't know why the few bucks mean a difference, but whatever. The 2 renders that they show aren't even in the core box. They have nothing from the core box. We go, okay, what about everything else? Well, they showed some 2 cards here, and 2 cards here, and 3 cards here, and that is it. You have seen everything there is to know about this game. They have highlights artwork and choices and easy to play and enemy AI. It's okay. There's an AI. That's wonderful. They have some high level stuff here. You come across these corpses and gain, their memories or whatever. But the problem is, if you actually read this part here, which actually kind of says what you're getting, perhaps, right? First of all, they're asking $150 for this. Anyway, so it says it has 7 boss miniatures, 4 fallen knights, so your characters, 8 unlockable bodies. So the bodies, the corpses that you're unlocking, there's only 8 of them. That's 2 per person, right? Because there's 4 people, 8 bodies. Like, you're not doing that very often in the game, obviously. That's like barely a thing. 40 plus monster standees. This is an $150 game, by the way. 1,000 plus cards. It's fairly standardish for a boss battle like this. 20 double-sided scenario tiles. So that's kind of nice, depending on how big the tiles are. I don't know. 1 boss fight board, a battle board, essentially. 1 rule and scenario book. 150 plus pages. Your rule book and scenarios are 150 pages? Really? Like, that'd be great to show. So, show some of that. Upload a Word document. And then a memory book, which is another 150 pages, which is odd. Maybe they just mean like a storybook. And then 200 plus tokens. So, like, it seems like there might be something here. For people who complained about Primal, this is even worse than Primal. Like, price-wise, you get, 7 boss miniatures and that's it? And then 4 knights? I'm assuming the Fallen Knights are miniatures as well. But, God only knows. It's just so funny that you would come to Kickstarter with just this for your core game, and then 3 add-ons, right? Because there's also this Rock Band add-on thing where you get, I'm assuming these standees. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know how many. I don't know what the standees are, but it's just funny that you just. So here's the thing. They claimed that, and the person who made it hadn't even logged in since the 19th. It launched on the 21st. They weren't there the whole day at all. They come in the day after to kind of check on things and are surprised that it's not doing well and didn't realize that Kickstarter requires that much. Now, here's my thing. Now, I was quick to note, guys, I don't support this. If you subscribe, you saw my post. YouTube should have notified you of my post where I said, do not back Fallen Knight. I do not condone that. I know I was the one that showed it to a lot of you guys, but I don't condone it. So what's the issue here? The issue is, even if they come back, unless, I don't care how professional it looks, unless they say we hired a manager to run this for us and to help us make the game, I still wouldn't suggest you back it. This has pretty much ruined them getting me to say, go ahead and back it. And here's why. If you aren't willing to, like, if this is what you show, right? If this is your output, when you have all the time in the world to make whatever it is you need to do, right? And this is how you present your game. If the artwork that I saw that you guys were working with, if that's the artwork you're using and working with, if you can't be bothered to check how board game Kickstarters work, which is what really got me, is, we're surprised you need more information. That we thought you could just upload a concept and people would invest in your concept. If you can't be bothered to just scroll and look at a few board games on Kickstarter to see the kind of industry you're in and the situation you're in, then I don't trust you to make a game that's made in China with all the logistics there and all of the working relationships and appointments and meetings and all that kind of stuff that you have to do to make that work and then ship it to everybody around the world. I just don't. If you do get it there, it's not going to be very good. And that's if you make it at all. For the most part, I imagine the money would be mishandled and all that kind of stuff. Like, it just shows a lack of professionalism of those that are running it. Now, I don't know if it's the developer. I don't know if it's this guy that showed up saying, hey, I'm working with the thing. I'm the manager. I wouldn't claim to be the manager of this thing, because this is a travesty. It sucks. It sucks to see a concept that's cool, but then the person can't implement it. But that's life, right? I mean, I think we all have those shower thoughts, it'd be great if this invention happened. But it's easy to think about something. It's much harder to actually make something in the world that's real, that's physical, that people can go to the store and buy, right? It's a fundamental different thing. It's much easier to think about a cool idea than it is to actually implement it. And you could have multiple people think of a cool idea, like a boss battle or a dungeon crawl, and everybody does it a little differently, and everybody has different skill sets when it comes to pushing it out there. It's why you can't copyright a story beat. It's why you see so many Luke Skywalker is Frodo, which is, you can draw those lines because it's not the story you're telling, it's how you tell it, right? It's not the game you design, it's how you actually deliver it, right? Because if you can't deliver it, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. That's why a lot of people will design and develop a game and then sell it to a publisher. And then, a company will actually go and be like, okay, we'll publish your game and make that thing and run with it. because the laymen like us can't really do that, right? So anyway, there was a whole thing where they're from Mongolia, but then they claim they're from that, and because you can't launch one from Mongolia, so you have some like it's kind of like the token race card thing. It's the token American that you can launch under. So it's like somebody on the team is from America, so we're from America, so we can legally be on the Kickstarter, because otherwise it wouldn't even be allowed. It's just such a mess. But if you can't even be there day one, if you just were like, throw it up there, have a fund, and I'll deal with it later, you need to put more effort into it. You need to actually sell us. And I would hope if you were trying to sell to a publisher, you would also put more effort into this. You couldn't just come to a publisher and show them this and then not even show up for the appointment, just send it in an email and not respond. If they said you wanted to meet, you just can't do that. Like, you can't just be that lackluster on it. So really unfortunate, and really sad, but it'd be hard for them to get me to say on camera, you should back this. If this comes up again, they said they're coming back, I would suggest steering clear. If this is their first attempt, I don't care if they go and comb their hair in the back real quick and put on some deodorant and maybe a jacket on or something like that, and then come in and try to impress you again in the interview. They've already botched it. I could see how you originally act, and trying to straighten up now is pretty hard, because I'll always remember this first impression. And it speaks to your ability to deliver a game, not necessarily to develop a game. I'm sure the game might be a blast. I don't know. I don't care, because I don't think I'd ever get it. And even if you make prettier images and show more of it, I still don't know if I'd get it. Not unless you actually hire a manager to run it for you. So, alright, I've spoken about that enough, but suffice it to say, I caution against ever backing Fallen Knight. Just erase it from your memory. Look forward to Gambler's Chest. We're getting that this year. I'll unbox it, and, we'll all kind of celebrate that, and just kind of move on with our lives. That's what I would suggest. It's unfortunate, and it sucks, but that's the cold hard truth. Okay, moving on. Death Goddess Izanami. I'm giving one of these away to my patrons. So the Axis Mundi, right, who's doing the Senkokushin and all that, right? So they did this big ol' Kickstarter of it, right? That's really, really cool. They offered to, for the GoFundMe, give away a bust, but they offered it a little late. We had already sent out the list, and instead of amending it, we're just like, well, you know what? We'll just go ahead and give this to patrons as kind of it was my idea as a thank you for running this thing and kind of doing that whole GoFundMe thing that they did, and that they're planning to do every year, by the way, where they're already starting to kind of keep contacts and have an ear to the ground on making even bigger and better price pool next year. So that's really cool, and it's great and all. But anyway, so I'll be giving one of those away to my patrons, and again, that is the bust of her is what I'll be giving away. So really excited, this right here. Really excited to give that away. I think that's going to be awesome. And anytime I can give back to my patrons, I'm all about it. I've had companies approach me like, how can we help you? And I'm like, well, I don't take any money, but you can help my patrons. You can make them really happy. Like, I'm all down with that. And so I've always trying to work on some ways I can do that. And this is definitely one of them. So thank you to them, by the way, for being willing to donate that. That's awesome. I'm sure it'll be incredible. I bought one myself. So as you guys saw my what I backed last month. So anyway, that's that. Next up, Ankh. This is good news. But there's a little stinger of bad news that I'll tease at the end. But first of all, good news for Ankh and for CMON in general. So they showed this. One of the bad things I see right away is you're using this as a lid. It never works out. You guys have seen me unbox these. These are going to be loose half the time when I see it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's a 50-50. If you cataloged all my unboxings where they had the lid be the cardboard box, that cardboard box can definitely bow. It's not super tight. It doesn't clamp on like the lid does underneath it when you get those little clamps there. It's not the same. So put a lid on even the top tray, my opinion. Moving on from that though, one of the cool things is they are supporting sleeves. That's right. They'll have plenty of space for sleeved cards. That is awesome. That's not a lot of companies do that. It's becoming more and more common, and keep demanding it. Companies don't improve unless you demand change. Why would they spend more effort, more money doing something that nobody's asking for? You can't just quietly be happy. Like, even if you are happy with the thing, if it could be better, suggest it. And actually push them to it. If it's just a few people casually saying, oh, I wish I would have had sleeves, but it's okay. They're not going to do it. But if you're like, I need sleeves, and I sleeve my cards, and this is not okay, you need to do better. You're designing it right now. It costs you very little to just design it with that in mind from the get-go. You get some change. So, but that's why I push companies, and I think everybody should do that. If you want to see a change, you gotta actually ask for it. There's another good thing here, because I think that's great. The other good thing, and you can't see it in all the pictures, but some of these other ones you can, they are numbering the spaces. And it's a black tray. You know I love the black trays because you can see that. If that was a clear, I couldn't be able to see that at 39 if it was a clear tray. I do prefer the black trays. You can see stuff on it and see the shape of it much better. So black tray, numbers, sleeved spaces. Is this the CMON we know and love? That's great. It's good. I love seeing that improvement. And if CMON does it, I hope others follow, right? Now, one bummer, I don't have an image for this or anything. I just know it from a patron. So a little spoiler for my unboxing that I'll have tomorrow. I'll be filming that. But anyway, one of the bummers, my tomorrow, not your tomorrow. One of the bummers, for Bloodborne is that it doesn't have an index. Now, CMON almost always has an index. So why they decided to spend all that time on that amazing game and not be bothered to write an index is beyond me. But I will yell at them to no end in the unboxing. I will yell at them to no end in this video, and I'll yell at them to no end in my review. That's stupid. Put an index in your rulebook always. If your rulebook is 3 pages, guess what? That's a real easy index, right? Bam, you're done. If your rulebook is 50 pages, guess what? An index is required. It has to be there. Put an index in your rulebooks. No ifs, ands, or buts. I don't care. If it's 1 page, on the back, just put page 1 and list it all. I don't care. Start listing a paragraph number. There are many things you can do to figure out where it goes. If your rulebook is a paragraph, then you didn't make a game. So, at some point, that example gets a little silly. But either way, if you made a rulebook, if you made a technical document, have the ability to search through it easily. It's as simple as that. A rulebook even more so, because at a rulebook, unlike a technical document where maybe you read it and then you go off, a rulebook, you're there at the table, everybody's there, they took their time out of their Saturday to drive down, and you ordered the pizza, and you guys got the drinks and the snacks and all that kind of stuff, and you have everybody there, we're all adults, and we're all, wanting to play the game, and you gotta look up, oh crap, how does that defense work? And you're leafing through it, put an index there. Just put an index! Always have an index. Moving on. The Runelords. This is one I hadn't covered yet, and I just thought it looked kind of cool when I saw that it needs a little bit of funding, so I was like, well, okay, let's look at that. $50 core pledge. Not bad. The art seems pretty cool. The miniatures seem cool. I don't know a whole lot about it, and I didn't look too much into it. I know I don't like this. I like the separation of headers, and I like animation. I don't like the spinny word art. It reminds me of, the 90s or something like that. I want on the bottom of the Kickstarter, it has how many people have visited it, like a viewer count, right? You remember those? But yeah, they seem to have, look, they're actually showing a game, unlike Fallen Knight, right? So you can see kind of how things work and how you're doing it. It's not something that I would get necessarily, but you guys know me. That doesn't mean it's not a bad game. It's just necessarily not the style that my group would play, or that I would pick out of all the games that I have. But if it's interesting to you and you want a $49 freaking game like this, that might be well worth it. This is what stood out to me the most. $49 core pledge. At that point, it's like, why not? That's an expansion. Just a single expansion. You could get that and you just get 3 minis in some of these games. You get that for 4 minis in Method of Darkness 2 when you do the Horseman, right? I think, wasn't that 50? I think it was. So, a whole game for the same amount, probably more worth it than a single expansion. Okay, moving on. Print Your Monsters. This is on My Mini Factory, and I will be having a discount code for this, and they will be sponsoring a video. So, as you guys know, I have a few sponsors, and I think that any company that shows this channel the support and stands by what this channel is willing to say, is pretty they got their head screwed on straight. And so, if we can show them some love and save some money while at it, I'll have a discount code. So if you're going to get this anyway, why not? This is the, Fantastic Plants and Rocks Volume 2 that they're going to be doing. It's going to be hundreds of STLs for freaking cheap. I plan on getting some to help with terrain, to help with basing, a whole bunch of stuff. I'll actually print some out and show you. I don't want to spend too much time on it now. I just want to let you know it's coming up, and then I will have a discount code for you guys. This should be out now by the time I publish this. So there will be a link down below. Go ahead and do that link. Again, it'll have kind of a discount code for you. But I'll talk about the campaign fully in a later video where you can actually show it off, and I'll show off some of the STLs. But either way, cheap and really good quality stuff. The stuff I already started printing looks awesome. So, looking cool there. Next up, VAT. I know you guys wanted to talk about VAT. Let's talk about VAT. This is a screenshot from Massive Darkness 2 that was said to be friendly to European shipping and was from a company that had never charged VAT before. So obviously people backed it, assuming VAT was taken care of either by the company or otherwise, right? Like if you can't pay for something you're not charged, right? If you get an invoice, you pay the invoice. You can't like write a tip like put this in the VAT. Like nobody does that, right? It's impossible for you to pay your own VAT if they don't say anything. So like I'm not going to yell at anybody saying like you should have just thought it was going to be there. Like, well, no, the precedent was it wasn't, right? If you've backed many CMON games and you've never been charged it before, so as far as and you've gotten the game, it's not like they didn't release it to you. So obviously something was taken care of. Either they avoided it, and I'm not going to claim that they avoided it by, charging you or claiming the price of the production price and not the selling price or any of that other kind of oddity or, where it's like person to person instead of business to person. So it's not a store. I'm not getting into that because I don't know. And I don't want to hem and haw about something that just, I don't know, right? I mean, it's, we could debate and maybe I'm sure some companies might have been doing stuff like that. Companies get around taxes all the time. Right? If it's not the VAT taxes, it's their own taxes or some other taxes. So anyway, that it would not surprise me to hear that a company is being shady. I tend not to like companies. Companies tend to be garbage. It's part of the course. For this VAT thing though, there's two things. There's the getting charged VAT in the future, right? In other words, I backed a game and it said I'll be charged VAT, I'm charged VAT. And then there's the retroactive, you paid us and you're stuck in this now and we've taken your money and now we're charging you VAT. And that's kind of the iffy thing. Now, Massive Darkness, I believe they offered a 100% refund on this, which is the bare minimum, of course. But either way, this VAT thing is rough for Europeans. Like, I cannot imagine having like an extra $100. I wouldn't do it. I would not be on Kickstarter if I had to pay a 20% VAT fee. Now here's the funny thing. One of the funny things here is that I got a good thinking point on this too when it comes to free VAT. So I'll talk about that in a second. But for the VAT, they are charging like these pledge managers are not the best coded. If that makes sense. As a software engineer, I have worked on many a system that charges money or somehow has to deal with accounting or one thing I've been doing recently is like commissions that are very advanced that follow like a contract for the commission that, it has like all sorts of different various parts in it, so that people are paid what they should be paid. And if that's wrong, it's bad, right? Obviously for me. For them, I guess they kind of don't care as much to fix these things. But, for instance, Frosthaven, right? You could back at $1 to have him slay an ooze. It was a fake, like it's not a real thing. They're not shipping you any products. You didn't actually buy anything. You could charge VAT on that $1. Which obviously isn't actually, I don't know if that's legal or not, but it's not right. Right? You didn't actually buy anything. You just gave the company $1 to get access to the PM. And if you checked out with that, like you get charged the VAT on top of the $1. So you get charged like 28 cents or some stupid junk like that. And it's just funny that they implemented in such a like obtuse way, or like a lot of people I think are claiming that a lot of these VATs are always 20%, and it actually kind of differs, right? It's not all like the average, the most common is 20 from what I can understand. And by the way, if you're from Europe, first of all, hi, hello, I'll be visiting you guys someday, at least in Essen, but I'll try to make a whole round trip thing, and we'll have some fun and I don't know, eat some good food. You guys will have to show me what good food is there. I'm all about food, so you guys take me to the nice places and we can hang out. Anyway. Tell me, let me know in the comments if I'm right or wrong about anything, or if you have any more information for me and others. Because us Americans, I gotta admit, we don't deal with this at all. It's not our thing. Like, I had only been quasi aware of a thing like that before all of this fuss. I now know a little bit more. Thanks to you guys, a lot of. So just thank you. And again, if you have anything to contribute, by all means, let us know. I know I'll be reading it because I think this is important for us to know about. Anyway, okay. So you're not being paid VAT. And even on games that you got beforehand, even if you're not getting physical rewards, like they're just charging you VAT no matter what. Like you're going to get VAT if you're in Europe, apparently. Now, there are companies reacting to this. For instance, Storm Thunder, right? The great VAT and vote, right? And what they said is, we are not going to charge EU and UK backers, Kickstarter early pledge, anything extra for VAT for Wave 1 or anything for Wave 2 that folks get before we close the pledge manager permanently for Wave 1. Now, after that, they're not so sure, right? Going on. Oh, by the way, they have this really cute freaking mini and I want it. I don't care if they get in the top 20 or not. I just want that mini. Make it happen, guys. Give me that mini. Oh, a little bit more. They have these masters here. Sorry, slight aside. And you can see the version 1 and version 2, and the version 2 does look a lot better. Like the detail work on his wing thingies on the second one look great. The grain on the handle compared to this one, they end up looking a lot better, which is great. The handle here is actually being corrected, so you're doing like small corrections, like instead of tilted like that, it's more straight up. And this they're talking about this like fluffy neck thing. Anyway, I actually have some of those, so you'll be seeing those miniatures here soon on the channel. I'll talk about them a little bit. But anyway, so that's them on the VAT. Let's go to Aeon Trespass Odyssey. And in big old caps, we are not one of those companies. They're saying, hey, some of these companies are charging a VAT. Guess what? We ain't charging a no VAT. Now, this is EU VAT is already included. Now, here's what's kind of funny. Okay, here's I'm gonna stop there. Now, if you were to tell me or any really hot-blooded American, I feel, how would you like to subsidize a European's tax? You would say no. Like we dumped a whole bunch of like tea for that, didn't we? Like, like I have no interest in paying for Europeans' taxes, right? And so if everybody's getting, if that's in the price, right? Then I'm like, no, because that's essentially what it is. I'm paying $5 extra than I would have, so I can pay for that dude's taxes. And I don't get any benefits from his taxes, right? And so that's why we pay taxes, for benefits, right? And you guys, your Europeans get all sorts of awesome stuff that we don't, but you pay a lot more taxes for it because nothing's free. I get that. I'm not going to get into that. My point is that's the general reaction, right? And I love it. I think it's great because I have that same reaction. But then people see this and they're like, oh, that's great. They're paying for it. Well, how do you think they're paying for it? It's from the profits that they have, right? And if they're paying from the profits, well, how did they get profit? Wasn't it from every game they sold? So if they had a 25% profit margin, let's arbitrarily say that 25, let's say a 30, all right, let's give it an O at the end. That's a 30% profit margin. And now they're having to cut 2% of that profit off to pay for VAT. If they were planning on doing that anyway to pay for VAT, in other words, if they weren't skating around the rules to not pay VAT at all, if they were already paying it behind the scenes, aren't they really, like, if they didn't do that, if they charged that, couldn't they just lower the profit margin by that 2% and you would pay 2% less? I guess what I'm saying is any money you put towards a company, that then the company does any kind of pays for anything, you're partially paying for that, right? So if the company covers European taxes, you're still partially covering European taxes. That's like, there's no way around that, right? Because they obviously do it from the money they gain, and the money they gain is from all of us, including us Americans. So it's kind of a little weird. Right now you can become a good company instantly and gain instant rapport with backers if you say you're not charging VAT, and everybody's happy. And I think it's a great tactic. There's a little bit of spin involved there though, right? Because really, if VAT is already included, that means everybody's paying VAT because VAT has to be paid somehow. Now, it could technically be. But again, it's just how do you word it, right? Because it's the same thing. It could be that they just make less on the Europeans. So if it costs 5% or whatever of it, right, of their profit margin or what, I don't know, whatever, right? I'm doing funny math here. Whatever profit they would have gone from that, it's just cut by that much. So they make very little on European sales, but they'll do it anyway, right? But again, that's still them paying it, which is still them doing it from all of their profits. They may have backed enough to pay for their own, it's still included in that because if the company's spending money and you put money towards the company, then you helped them pay for that little bit, right? That's just how that works, right? If you read that a company that you buy a lot of stuff from buys a new office, right? That happens a lot. Dragori Games, they got a new office after, I forget if it was after Arena or after Tenaris. I can't remember. I think it was after Tenaris. They got this office and they moved into the office and it was all good and all great. Well, we kind of helped pay for that, right? I mean, that was our money that paid for their office space, which they pay taxes on, which means we're helping that company pay their taxes, whether it's the European taxes or not. So I guess that's my 2 cents. It's great that companies aren't doing that. And in fact, I'm fine with paying taxes. You guys should pay taxes. Everybody should pay their taxes, especially when you benefit from them. Well, I guess only if you benefit from them, but I guess if you live there, even if you're just paying taxes and it's all soaked up by some corrupt government, not that any government's like that, you still got to pay your taxes. Stay legal. And it's great that companies can look good, but don't kid yourself in thinking that it's not included in their price. Like, if it's included in their price, that means everybody paid a little bit extra, right? It's just like that Ludus Magnus Studio when they did the stupid shipping thing where they're like, we're going to charge everybody in the world $15. It's like, well, it probably was only $5 for me, but the dude in Brazil, it costs like $30. And so I'm kind of subsidizing his game to ship now. Like, it's worldwide stuff is bad. When Darkest Dungeon does the whole worldwide shipping thing, no, that's dumb. I want shipping to me, not the world. I want my shipping, not the world shipping. Like, that's stupid. I want to pay for my crap and my crap only. So anyway, that's all I had to talk about with VAT. I thought it was kind of interesting that these companies are getting some really good rapport for saying that they're not charging. And I think that is great, by the way, for anything that, if you didn't advertise it with VAT, you should cover it. You should deal with it. Unless it'll take you down as a company and you won't be able to fulfill your things, put your profit towards paying that and don't charge them for it. That's my opinion. I'm not supporting of anybody getting surprise things. And if you said this is friendly and you don't pay any fees for entry, then don't charge them fees for entry. Suck it up as a company. That's my opinion there. For future stuff, by all means, put in there, hey, you gotta pay VAT. And that really just means that this becomes a very expensive collector's edition pre-order system for people in Europe, is what that means. Because that's expensive. And you do get that cool premium collector's edition style thing, but you ain't saving no money for it, that's for sure. Alright guys, that's all I had. I hope you enjoyed this little update. I was looking forward to talking to you guys. I know a lot of you were asking about this. Coming up videos. So I told you about that sponsored video. We'll have that. And again, there is a link down below with a discount code to that Plant and Rock STL Bonanza thing. They also have a ton of giant monsters. Again, I will show you that. And I'm talking like big, 2 different bases, like all kinds of crazy minis in that Kickstarter for a crazy low price. So it's really cool there, and even lower with my discount code. So there's that too, and it helps me out too. So that's another way to help out. Anyway, so that's down below. I will be having a Oathsworn versus Primal video cage match. I will get that out to you guys before Primal's done. I am booked. I have Bloodborne coming in tomorrow as a filming. That'll be Friday's video, so I will be unboxing that and showing that off to you guys. There's just a boatload of stuff coming in, so I hope you're excited about it all. 2021 has started out crazy. I can't wait to see what I can't wait to see what February brings us. But I guess we'll experience it together. I'll be here with you guys. Don't worry about it. All right, that's all I had. Have a great rest of your day. I hope you enjoy it. I'll talk to you guys again real soon.